not getting the support that you think you did, that kind of like, you know what, this shit ain't clicking how I want it, so I'm gonna just try something else, and hopefully if I get it popping in that, I could probably circle back into music. I see a lot of people do that.
Nah, it wasn't really like more of a circle back thing. It just kind of like, I want to say, died out a little bit, like, you know, like the group itself, you know what I mean? We wasn't really a group, we were a crew.
Okay.
But, you know, sometimes problems with the crew thing is like, you do certain songs, and then certain people on songs, if it's time to perform, them people not there. Then it's like, you know what I mean, you want to plug and play different songs and stuff like that. It's like, and then you might have one that might be, you feel like the one, you know, but like, you know, everybody's path is different. Like some people like, I don't really want to do this anymore, you know, stuff like that.
So that's what it pretty much was, because y'all started as a collective, as a team or whatever. And
yeah,
I've been in teams and groups and stuff like that, and I feel like everybody ain't on the same page. It kind of brings friction, you know what I mean? And it's more than just the music part of it. It started taking like personal friction and shit like
we
that.
never had no personal friction like that. Shout out to my man Mitchie B too, because he was a big part of that, you know, pushing everything. You know, I think the other problem that we had was like, you know, we knew what we knew, but we didn't know what we didn't know. Meaning that like, you know, we needed someone else to help us get to the next level. We was all like kind of in that mind frame. We're gonna do it ourselves and everything like that. And that's a good mind frame to have, but people have to understand like you still need someone else to walk you in that door.
For sure.
You know, stuff like that. And we tried to do it, you know, individually on our own, but like it got to a ceiling and we couldn't break that glass, but we didn't ask for help or didn't have the right help with us, you know. So
what, like asking for help? Did y'all want to ask people? Because like Philly has, like I feel like Philly has like an open like door when it comes to like music. There's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of people that, you know what I mean, that's in the industry and stuff like that.
Now, I mean, you know, for a while, like, you know, especially like, you know, we were like early 2000s and stuff like that, late 90s, early 2000s, we was a crew or whatever like that, you know. It was kind of a crabs in the barrel thing still back then, you know. It was breaking out of that, you know, but it's like, you know, we didn't have a manager. We were trying to do everything on our own and stuff like that. You know, we should have made some better business choices, and that probably would have got. The music was not a problem. You know, it was like, you know, we put a project out. A month later, we right back in instead of doing more promotion and things like that. You know, that's why I try to tell people, like, you know, whenever I talk to people about music, like, you have to take the time to promote your project.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to get out of your own way, because being a creative, you know, you always want to make something new. You always feel like you got to make something new, but at the same time, it's like, no, you got to take that time to promote. And if you got your peoples around you, whatever, the ones that don't do music, if they down with you, they in your crew, then you got to give them not necessarily jobs, but positions to play to help you get further.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
You know?
And I feel like we all need a team. Like, we can't be the artists, because artists, you have to actually create the project. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I can't be worrying about of course I'm a promote, but like that other shit that comes with it. So it's very important for people to have a team. So what's like the time frame? Like, give me a time frame from like, look, I was doing music, then I kind of started doing the clothing thing. Like how many years, or was you implementing the clothing thing with it, but you wasn't taking it serious?
Right, yeah. So like, you know, the clothing thing probably started more like 2012, 2013, just the idea of it, you know. So like we were still doing, me and my crew was still doing shirts and stuff together, because like even though we weren't doing music together, we were still doing music things. Like, you know, we were having parties, we were hosting comedy shows and stuff like that. So like we were still in the mix of a lot of stuff or whatever. So, you know, like we were making shirts around that time. So then around like 2013, between 2015, somewhere around there, that's when the idea of BL Regalia started to formulate. Like, I know what I want to do, didn't know how I wanted to do it, you know. Then I got with a guy I used to go to school, my man Rand Art. He was a graphic designer. He was one of the best, you know. He still is one of the best. He just don't do it anymore, you know what I mean?
So you don't work with him no more?
Nah, because he kind of faded to black from the graphic design thing. You know, he wanted to try to do other things. Like, that's the thing about Philly. Like, you know, it's a creative place, you know, and it's a lot of things that you can do. But if you don't get out of that, sometimes you feel like you get stuck.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so then I think he felt like, you know, as far as that art stuff, like, you know, he kind of got stuck. Like, it was just kind of frustrating. He wasn't getting where he wanted to get with it. You know, that's my take on it. Like, he may have, you know what I mean, something totally different to add on to that. But, you know, my opinion from conversations and stuff like that, I think he didn't get what he was wanting to get, and then he wanted to try something else. So, but long story short with that, you know, then that's when BL Regalia started to make form.